unrhyw monarch Brydeinig. Ar ail hiraf a gofnodwyd o unrhyw monarch mewn gwlad sofran. A'n rhydeddwn heddi etifeddiaeth ryfeddol o wasanaeth a defosiwn sydd heb gyfartal yn hanes ein cenedl. Across the country, many have recognised the impact our late Queen had on public life, as well as in the lives of individuals. On how from the earliest days she transformed the monarchy, bringing an accessibility to a country still emerging from the ravages of war. Her skills of diplomacy are well known, but she had the ability to relate to the man or the woman on the Clapham omnibus, or here, the Merthyr Tydfil omnibus. To the person on the street, with an attentiveness that made you feel you were valued, you were understood. Born perhaps of her experience as a mother, grandmother and great-grandmother, as much as Queen. This kind of skill is learned over the decades and by interacting with life in all of its joys and sorrows. When matched with the dignity of her office, it is lifted to a higher level still. A Christian word for this is grace. The Queen shaped her role within a constitutional monarchy with its boundaries and its responsibilities. Her ability to influence, to utilise soft power, no less significant, no less authoritative, illustrates the wise and careful thought she brought to her role. Prime Ministers found that she was a trusted confidant. Her attention to matters of government, her knowledge of world events, and the longevity of her reign gave her an unmatched perspective and ability to see the distant scene. Parhaodd yr arweinyddiaeth hon ar draws cyfnod o newid aruthrol, diwylliannol a gwleidyddol, ond I ni, chynigodd y sail I hyder drwy ganolbwyntio ar bethau a barhaodd. Roedd ei chysondeb mewn cyfnod o her genedlaethol yn rhoi sicrwydd. Nid oedd hyn erioed yn fwy felly na phan ddarlledodd neges i'r genedl yn ystod a pandemig. But we also saw a monarch who could surprise and delight us. We will never look at a jar of marmalade again in the same way, nor watch Mr. Bond without remembering 2012 and that extraordinary leap into the void. Her late Majesty was also a towering figure on the world stage, embodying stability and continuity, but perhaps more than that, values which are shared across nations and cultures. She received countless heads of state as well as innumerable prime ministers. And it was her abiding trustworthiness as well as her hospitality which kindled friendship and confidence. In her role as head of the Commonwealth, she presided over a growing fellowship of nations, and she embraced our diverse histories, cultures, and languages, delighting in the sheer variety of this unique assembly. And at times when countries threatened to forsake each other, she displayed the skillful use of that soft power which I mentioned earlier, that way of exercising power that has reach and depth. In Wales, that skill was never more evident than when she visited Aberfan in 1966. That community finding her presence deeply consoling, and Her Majesty would return 4 more times to that community. In one of our Bible readings, we heard of Solomon's request for the gift of wisdom at a time of significant change and transition. Solomon following David as king. As Wales gains an even stronger sense of nationhood and our place within the world, we should still remember that shared traditions count. On St David's Day in 2006, the Queen marked a new chapter in the life of our country when she opened our Senedd. Y mae ein gwreiddiau fel pobl yn y ddwfn. Mae'n diwylliant a'n iaith, ein straeon, a'n chwedlau, yn ein gosod mewn y trefdadaeth unigryw. Ond hefyd yn ein harwain ymlaen at ddyfodol a gaddewid a photensial. Mae arnom angen y gras a'r doethineb a ddangoswyd gan y fren hines wrth i ni gydweithio I adeiladu cymdeithas lywyrchus a thosturiol. Finally, many of us will recall with gladness her deep and committed Christian faith, which shaped her sense of duty and public service from as early as 1947, when she pledged her life to the service of God and the people. In celebrating her 90th birthday, she reaffirmed the importance of faith, saying, "I have and remain very grateful to God for his steadfast love. I have indeed seen his faithfulness." Hers was a personal faith. She spoke of Jesus Christ and her relationship with him, as well as his teachings, and the way that his life, death, and resurrection opened the possibility for new life, for restored relationships, and a commitment to a kingdom not of this world.